and welcome to the 200 subscriber celebration Q&A video. I am Sophie and I will be your host today, and I will also be answering all of the questions because I'm the only person here. All of these questions are almost all entirely anonymous because of the way that I did the questions using a Google Docs. So let's get started with some questions. The first question is, why did I start a booktube channel? Mainly because I have a problem, guys, and it's called a book addiction. And the problem is not that I have an addiction to books, but it's that not enough of my friends have an addiction to books. And so I talk to some people, obviously my mum a lot, which I've mentioned previously in videos that I talk to her about books a lot. And I talked to one or two of my friends, but most of them wouldn't read the same books as me, and so I needed someone to talk to. And obviously this isn't really someone, it's a camera, but I get that level of interaction. Plus, after watching for 3 months, I was like, this is really fucking awesome, I want to do this. So I do this now, and 200 of you watch this, so thank you for watching. And that's why I do this, because it's fun, mainly. And also it gives me a platform to rant at people who are like-minded and understand where I'm coming from, so that's great. The second question is, describe an average day in your life. Okay, I have 3 types of day, so I'm going to explain them all. First type of day is a day when I have college all day, and those are Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And what happens is that I get up at 6:30 in the morning and I get driven to the bus station, or sometimes I have to take the bus to the bus station, and then I get on a bus at about 7:30 and go to college, and I get there for like 10 to 9, and then I spend all morning in class, have lunch, all afternoon in class, get on a bus again at between 4:30 and 6, because sometimes I stay after college to do work, and then I come home, and that takes about 2 hours, so I get home at any time between 6 PM and 8 PM. On Tuesdays I can then stay at home. On a Wednesday I then have to go back out again because I go to orchestra, which is from 7 until 9, so that's another 2 hours of playing the bassoon, which I love. I love orchestra, it's so much fun. I then have a second type of day, which is a Monday, where I only have to go into college for the afternoon, so that usually involves me either sleeping until like 11 o'clock and then going into college, or I get up at like a reasonable hour of like 8 AM and do some work, whether that be booktube stuff or my other YouTube channel, or writing some music, or because it's December, that could be Christmas shopping or wrapping some presents. But yeah, so Mondays are usually like, oh, what have I forgotten to do on my days off? So like, have I got an essay that I've got to do? So I'll do that on a Monday morning. And then I have my third type of day, which is like Thursday through Sunday, which is I don't have to go to college today, so has a very whimsy and malleable order to it, because sometimes I go out and I go busking for a couple of hours to try and raise some money. Some days I spend literally in a woolly jumper and some fluffy pajama bottoms and I don't leave the house and I watch West Wing, and then that changes into reading or writing some stuff or doing some homework or going Christmas shopping or any number of things, and then I usually go to bed on those days around like 2 or 3 in the morning. Days where I have college the next day, bed is about 10 or 11 because getting up at 6:30 is really difficult. But yeah, those are kind of average days in my life. The next question is, this year I had a target of reading 104 books. What is next year's goal or project or challenge? And next year's challenge is to finish what I started, and by that I mean there are over 100 books on the shelves behind me that I own and haven't read, and there are also many series that I have read the beginning of and then got distracted by other things and want to finish those series. So for example, I want to actually finish reading the Morganville Vampire books, I want to actually finish the House of Night books, I want to finish the Size 12 Is Not Fat books, I want to actually read the Artemis Fowl books, I want to finish the Matched trilogy, I want to read some more Jodie Picoult because I've read quite a few of these, but not all of them. I want to actually finish the Wind on Fire trilogy, which I love the first one, and I want to actually finish it. I want to read more of the Philip Pullman books that I own. I want to start and finish the Infernal Devices Quartet by Philip Reeves. Like, so many books that I want to get through. I want to finish the Starters and Enders duology because I've read the first one and I still haven't read the second one. And then I also want to get through the TBR shelf, which you can't see because it's on the other side of the room, and it's like nearly 2 shelves of books that I really need to read. So that's next year's project, is to try and get through all of that. I'm aware that I won't do it because there are, like I said, over 100 of those books, and next year is going to be possibly more stressful than this year was because I'll be doing the end of this first year of my course and the start of my second year of the course, and hopefully trying to raise enough money to go to VidCon, so I don't have as much time as I did this year, which is odd because I was doing A-levels this year and still found time to do things, but that's possibly why I failed the exams. Have you noticed that I talk too much? The next question is, of all the novels that I've read this year, who do I think I am most like as a character? So I figured it out, and it's a mixture, and I had to go with 3. It was going to be 2, and then I realised the thing that the 2 characters have in common is not true of me, so I needed to pick a third that would even it out. So the first one is Carrie in If You Find Me. I read this like in September, I think, and I really enjoyed it. And the main character, the similarities that I have with her is that she is very much she's very intelligent. Like, people don't think that about her. Well, they do think that about me, but she's very interested in reading and she protects her younger sibling like it's her job in life. And I'm very similar to that. My protection of my younger sibling is very important to me, even if it irritates the hell out of him. And I care a lot about learning things. Learning things makes me happy, and with Carrie that's very much the same. And also her love of music. She plays the violin, and there's several scenes where she's playing the violin and she kind of says everything else stops mattering when she's playing music, and that's very much true of me. So similar to Carrie in the sense. Second person I picked was Eleanor from Eleanor and Park. Mainly because this book really spoke to me about, and especially the character of Eleanor, about being young and in love and fat. And it's really scarily similar how much of this sounded like thoughts that I had when I was 15 and with my first boyfriend, and I was very similar to this. However, from these 2 books, I don't want anyone to worry. I am in absolutely no physical or emotional abusive danger in any fashion. I'm fine. That's not a similarity that I have with these 2 characters, so yeah. They're just the other bits of their personality. Also, to do with Eleanor, I do quite like comic books and graphic novels and superhero stuff, so that as well. And then lastly is Selena from the Throne of Glass series. I have only read the first one, so don't spoil me for other things. And I can't kill anyone, and I'm not quite that like violent, but I really don't do well with people talking down to me. I have a tendency to be really sarcastic and bitchy. Like, if you get on my wrong side, it's not unusual for me to be really sassy and kind of a cow. So I had to put someone who was super sarcastic into that mix. So those 3 books are the people that I'm like. The next question is, what novels and what books kind of got me into reading for the sake of reading, like as a fun activity? And for me there's a mixture of things, and it's also quite difficult for me to remember because I've always liked reading. Like, for as long as I can remember, I have liked reading, so there wasn't really a kind of like 8-year-old me found this book in a bookshop and was like, I have seen the light and now I like literature. No, it was just like, I've always liked reading. But that said, there have been some books that I distinctly remember kind of making an impact on my reading. The first of which I think is probably the thing that made me like reading altogether, is Harry Potter, because they were the first kind of real books that I remember being read 2 as a child with. So like my mum read the first 2 books to me and my brother when I was 3 or 4, and then we kind of continued to read them as they came out until I was 10 when the last one came out, and that was very much a thing that was like enjoyable and made me see reading as a fun activity. I have 3 questions left. The next question is, what is the silliest / funniest thing that you have done drunk? And this was asked, I actually know who asked this one, this was asked by my friend Ruth. I haven't done that many stupid things when I'm drunk. I haven't gotten to that level. Like, I've never vomited or passed out from drinking, because like I don't understand why you'd want to do that. So like the funniest thing that I've ever done would be that kind of the first time I got properly drunk, me and my friend we were in this kind of state of like laughing at everything and anything, and it got to the point where we were laughing at a loaf of bread. There wasn't anything funny about the loaf of bread, it was literally just a bagged loaf of white bread, and we found it very funny. And the next question I think is my favourite question that I've ever been asked, like, in my lifetime. And it says, you are on a desert island. The only things you have with you are a bottle of whiskey, a fridge magnet, a box of vegetables, a copy of The Guardian, and a blender. There is a beast advancing towards you. How do you defend yourself? There is no right answer, but more points the more imaginative you answer. Okay, so what do I have? I have a blender, a Guardian, a box of vegetables, a fridge magnet, and whiskey. Okay, so I think what I would do is use the blades in the blender to hollow out all of the vegetables. And then I would pour a small amount of whiskey into each of the bottom of the hollowed out vegetables. Take a sheet of newspaper and dip one end into the whiskey that's left in the bottle and in each of the hollowed out vegetables, with a bit hanging over the edge. I would then use the blade from the bottle of the blade from the blender and the fridge magnet to start a small fire on the hanging out ends of the Guardian newspaper, and then I could throw the kind of impromptu bomb things at the beast, or like in front of it so that it ran away. And then my last question, in the run up to Christmas, a lot of people have certain favourite Christmas carols. What are your favourite Christmas carols? And I have 2 favourite Christmas carols, and I think they're beautiful. The first is Carol of the Bells, which, if you haven't heard, is this gorgeous piece of music, and I will leave a link to my favourite rendition that I know of, which is actually in a scene of the West Wing. The second is a song that hardly anybody knows about, and it's called Mrs. Beeton's Christmas Plum Pudding, and it's the best song ever written. It's so ridiculously beautiful. Like, it's hilarious and weird and wonderful, and I love it as a song, and no one ever, like, it's never on a CD or sung anywhere, but I think it's hilarious. So those 2 are my favourite Christmas carols, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I will see you again soon. Bye!